Hello and welcome to Crow Wing Review, and today I am reviewing a new disc golf disc. It's my other passion besides cornhole. As you can see, my cornhole board over here next to me. So I'm recording here from our bunker here at home, and today that is fitting because we have a disc from Doomsday Discs right here. It's the Doomsday Blackout. It is a speed 8, glide 5, turn -2, and fade 1 fairway driver. And as you can see, that pretty much, just if you're familiar with how discs are made, you can kind of tell that probably lines up pretty well with this. It's got a fairly thin rim on it, but not like a full-on distance driver. And the inside, the thickness of the rim is definitely the thickness of a fairway driver. And it's a little bit domey, I would say. Probably might be even a little bit more than a Glide 5 just by looking at it. So it should be pretty glidey, and it is pretty glidey from when I've thrown it. So the purpose of this disc here is a good straight fairway driver. At least if you throw like me, I throw about 300 feet, so I'm kind of a noodle arm compared to what you see on the internet these days. But I throw about 300 feet, and it's pretty straight for me. And if I want to, I can throw a hyzer flip on it. Because I usually, like most people, you don't throw every shot as hard as you can. But if I give it a really good rip on it and I put it on a hyzer angle, it'll flip right up to straight. If I throw it at my normal golf distance, it'll just fly straight for the most part. Maybe it'll fly pretty straight that way too at normal golf distance. If I want to, I can put a little bit of an ante on it, and it will hold that ante line. Pretty gradual right turn on it, so that can be helpful on some holes too. As far as what I would say I would compare it to is as I throw some Lone Star Discs stuff too. And one thing you might compare it to based on the flight numbers is a Lone Star Mockingbird. This one's a speed 7, 5, -2, 1. So it's supposed to be, I mean, you can't really compare necessarily between manufacturers because they all come to their own conclusions on how to rate things. But I'd say looking at both of these discs, I would judge the ratings on them both to be correct by my estimation anyways. So this one should be a little slower, and if you look at the rims on them, you can tell that the Blackout has definitely got a sharper edge on it. So it's definitely going to be faster. And then another thing, if you flip it over on this side, you'll see the rim thickness is pretty close to the same. I'd say maybe slightly more thickness on the Blackout, which would also give another hint that it's faster, besides the edge of the rim being thinner. Usually a thinner edge and a thicker rim will give you more speed. So I'd say, by looking at it, I'd say this is definitely slightly faster than my Mockingbird. Probably, maybe even significantly. It may be like a 8.5 speed instead of an 8. But in any case, it's definitely faster. And then also another thing that contributes to the speed is, I don't know if it'll be able to be seen on the video here, but if you see on the Blackout here on this edge, it's got it like a shape to it. It's like a divot or indentation as it goes up. I guess I'm not entirely sure what you would call that on a disc. But it's not flat here. Whereas on the Mockingbird, this is a flat edge here. It's like there's no dip here. And on here, there's a dip. That's usually going to give you more speed and more stability. As from my understanding, I'm no expert on designing discs, but from what I've been able to gather, having that little bit of a divot there, slight bevel, I guess maybe you might call it, that helps with stability and speed and gives you that sharper edge. Now, the other thing that comes with a sharper edge is usually less control, because can help make it hard to keep your nose down. When you have a sharper edge, the nose can get up easier, more air can get underneath the edge easier. At least that's my understanding. But there's not like a huge difference here between these two discs. I mean, this one's a little bit more thin, a little bit thicker rim, and it has that slight bevel here compared to the Mockingbird. So if you throw a Mockingbird, which for me, if I throw that 80% power, it's probably going to turn over just a little bit. Maybe, and then if I put a full rip on it, it's definitely turning over. Whereas when I throw the Blackout, if I throw it on a full rip flat, it'll turn over a little tiny bit. But if I throw it out in my normal golf distance, it's not going to turn over. It'll probably go pretty straight. So if you're a bigger arm person, you might have to just throw it on the hyzer angle just to get it to flip up flat. But otherwise, it's a pretty good disc, I think. I think when I throw full power on this, I can get it out to about 350-ish, which for me, that's pretty good. That's probably about as far as I can throw any disc. So for an 8-speed disc, that's a bomber disc for me. So I really like this one. I'm going to be adding this to my bag, definitely. I'm probably going to have this glow because this one's a glow. So it's slightly more stable than the standard version and a little bit more torque resistant. But I'll probably have this glow in there, and I'll probably get their base plastic, a couple of base plastic ones too, so I can get a couple that are a little bit more flippy in there too, just for that purpose. But what I would say is if you're a new player and you can throw at least 275 feet, I would definitely recommend this as your like main driver, because you're going to be able to throw this straight. You'll be able to put a hyzer on it, and it's going to throw on a nice hyzer line for you. You can put an Annie on it, and it'll be an Annie, take an Annie line for you. So you'll be able to shape your shots with this really nicely if you can throw at least like 275 feet. This can be a disc that you can throw off the tee for almost any purpose that you need. It's not going to be great in the wind. It doesn't have enough stability to be great in the wind. But outside of that, this will be great for just about any shot you can make off the tee, or even if it's a long up shot, this will be great. So that's my recommendation for a new player. Experienced players, you'll find a place in the bag for it too. It'll probably end up being like a turnover shot for a turnover disc for you, more than likely, or a hyzer flip if you like to throw these up tunnel holes. Like if you play at Blue Ribbon Pines here in Minnesota, there's a pretty famous hole that's a tunnel tree shot, a tree tunnel shot, and this would actually be very good for that, throwing a hyzer flip right up the middle on that. So for me, I would recommend this definitely for most people, as if you're looking for a straighter fairway option. And I am a member of their team, so just so you're aware of that. But I have been playing since 1996, and I've always had a mixed bag of whatever I find that I like. So it's not like I'm going to just give you this because I'm a fanboy of Doomsday and say you should get it. I've thrown Innova, I've thrown Discraft, I've thrown Gateway, Lightning for the old folks here, the old players here, you'll know who Lightning is. I've thrown Lone Star, obviously, and just about any. I've tried just about a disc from just about any of the major brands, except for some of the newer ones, I guess, but Dynamic discs and Trilogy discs I've had in my bag too. So just so you know that ahead of time, that I'm being upfront, that I am on there, I guess what they would call maybe a street team. And if you want to try their discs out and you want to get a little bit of a discount, you can put in promo code Cloverfield, and that'll get you a little bit of a discount there. And I do get some sort of credit for it. I don't even really know how it works, to be honest with you, but I don't think it's so significant that if anybody buys a disc here, it's going to make a huge difference to me. But it might get you a discount. That's the important part. So anyways, give this disc a try if you're looking for something as I've described it here, and use that promo code to get yourself a little bit of discount. Thank you for watching this one, and we'll see you on the next one.